Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. Well, having been in a barroom brawl and having been hit with a bar stool, it's not like Bolsa would in the fucking movies. You go down and you stay down. Well, this little Irish shit has been, and you can tell the way he fights. But most of you, I'm probably the only guy in this room who's been hit with a bar stool. I've been hit with a brick. I've been hit with a shovel in the face. One of our guys who wanted to scare himself, he went to Indonesia and engaged in knife fighting. He got hurt because he told the guy, I want you to come at me full bore. Come on, asshole, full bore. Tough guy, thought he was tough. Full bore. Where's my fucking, no, here it is. He says, full bore. Well, unless you know how to use this is no fucking good. And he got stabbed right in the thigh. Now he kind of walks a little funny, but no, it didn't. He was fortunate. But he's just pissed at the guy, you know. I used to say when I was a kid, got me out of a lot of fights, when I used to think I was really bad meaning tough, 5 or 6 of you I'd say, unless one of you is Bruce Lee in disguise, or more than one of you got a knife and know how to use it, a lot of people are going to get hurt and it's going to be all you. So who's first, assholes? That got me out of a gazillion fights. A gazillion. I also got the shit kicked out of me a few times because they were all ready to fight. Okay, what do you think about my Vietnamese gangbang shoot him out? Yes, ma'am.
I noticed a consistent theme as well with people.
No. The consistency here, well, it's absurd. Go ahead.
They're cutting people off of their life, and they're only including people who are congruent with the goals. And
that's a big word for this audience. Would you please explain what congruent means?
Alignment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, actually, there's nobody in your whole life that's congruent with this program. Nobody. Zero. You know your wives aren't. You're just jerking yourself off. You know, absolutely. You know your mother and father aren't. You're just fooling yourself. I've got one mentee, his father died in June, and we can't wait for his mother to die. Because then he'll be cut free. It's a shitty thing to say, isn't it? Isn't it? If religion and love worked, I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't. And I was just playing with one of my mentees got me this from the Pope. And he's behind the camera right now. When did you see the Pope? You haven't seen the dollar, you haven't seen shit, right? What's not likely? If you get a big checkbook, they're more likely to call you. But what else about, you're right about congruency. Yes, sir.
Well, another thing about consistency, they all follow the steps to the letter.
Well, not to the letter. They're leaving off when they stepped on their dick. Everybody steps on their dick, no matter how successful you are out of the blocks. Even the guy that's done 20 deals, and if you're listening, Marcus, 20 deals this year, I mean, but the only ones that know about him is tripping over his dick or him and me, because he keeps me in the loop, even though he's still, loosely speaking, he's still in the mentor program. But he is, because he went to the hardcore last December. But they do. There's now what I consider speed bumps, like we have on the road here, right? You're going to think Mount Everest or the Grand Canyon. Speed bumps, the little things that you're going to learn how to do. Like, I believe he said he already fired somebody, but his family, his little Asian family, thought he was as successful as shit. Had 4 or 5 employees, put in windows and doors, right? Windows and doors. A reform gangbanger. They think, oh God, he's not dead, and he's, and his parents are going to be able to suck off the tit when because the Asian retirement model is your kids. That's the Asian retirement model, the kids, which is a shitty, but it dates back to caveman days, because when the parents' teeth fell out, the kids would eat the food and then put it in their parents' mouth to chew because they had no teeth. That's where it all started. What else? We're getting we're getting close to air conditioner time, Jack. Okay. Because I can see after lunch, we'll do it right now. After lunch, rather than me hit one of you, where's the fucking air conditioner? Where is it? What'd you hide it? Somebody hit it, huh? Oh. After lunch, this is when I get my playtime on you. Yank the chair from underneath you. We had some mistake a few years ago. The guy cut his fucking head, soft head, cut his head on the what do you call it? What else? Yes, sir.
So for one thing, he said the three of them said that there's a lot of rejection in the process of cold calling and doing the steps.
No, they didn't say lots. They said that you get used to rejection. Yeah, well, I mean but it's not like a black man in a white neighborhood selling door to door. That's the ultimate of rejection. And a black guy who's successful said, Dan, this reminds me of me selling door to door. He sold pots and pans or something when he was young. Yeah, you have to get used to it. Anything else?
And the other thing is, for the French girl, it was difficult to get with the accounting and the law firms. It was difficult for her to get them on board. And these gangbanger, he said it was the easiest thing for him.
Yeah, that's a great point, good teaching point. Some of you will struggle. You shouldn't struggle with a chairman just because he's 65 years old. He's got a big resume. He's got all these things that he's done. And you've never really been exposed to anybody like that. And that'll be the speed bump you get over, you think it's Mount Everest, and that'll make all the rest of the guys easy. For the board. But you've already heard them say the board is the easy part. The accountants you can normally get based on the referrals or references from the board members. After you practice with small firms, you don't want to embarrass your former KPMG partner who's your CFO that introduces you to the big four and go fuck up. So you practice with 10 or 15 small accounting firms, practicing your presentation skills. And then you take him and you go to see KPMG. But when the lawyers are, can be pricks. Okay, they have reputation of being pricks, so it comes to fruition that they're harder on you. But sometimes we've had kids in this year where the CFO, ex-PwC guy, calls not only a Big Four retired guy, but a big lawyer, and they took the project without even meeting. Oh, you stand up for the kid, we'll do it. We can meet later. Now that happens 1 out of 10 times. And I know you're all hoping that it's you that it happens to, but maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 times. And and of course, we've got guys like Churchill, who was locked in a school that couldn't go out and go to meetings. You wish you were locked in a school so you didn't have to go to meetings. But the best way is eyeball to eyeball. Yeah, there was a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the idea of he lined up bankers, and then...
I wonder where he got that idea. Day after tomorrow, when we talk about bankers, I lined them up 7, 8, 10 in a room, and 3 got up and left them. We're not going to go through a beauty contest. But it works. But the ones that stay want to do business. And the ones that leave, I'm not going to subject myself to this. Yeah, go ahead.
Suggest that we use, for example, I have an accounting firm already, and they've said that I can use their resources.
Yeah, well, you can use your resources, but the accounting firm that you have is probably not the accounting firm you're going to go forward with your board. But we'll talk about that later. Okay.
Anticipate the questions prior to the meetings.
Well, and part of the reason he anticipates the questions, one of the things you kids have that the meatheads on YouTube is that you have access to not the library that's online, not the Dan Locke library or my library, but you have the secret sauce tip library of all the webinars. And there's, how many of them are there? 100? Almost 100 of just like this. And we only show you what we think is the germane ones at the time. But so you have access to that, and you have access to how different problems, and in certain areas of the world, it's slightly different. The Eastern European countries are less trusting. They believe things are a scam based on their communistic days back 30 years ago before the wall fell.
How soon do we get access to it?
Well, I mean, Friday.
We'll have access to all the webinars.
Is there an echo in the fucking room? There's always a meathead, you know, and he's normally with a beard, and he normally speaks with a fucking, he can't speak English. Yes, I said yes, that's what you have. Okay. So to the extent that you got something more than the other meatheads, you got that. You have access to those webinars that nobody else.
Sir, they have full access once they pass the mentorship. Are you gonna give these guys access?
Oh yeah. Once you leave here, unless somebody, well, this doesn't happen too often. Somebody really does something ugly, awful. By the way, if you fight with here at the seminar, you are out of and the guy you fought with, we haven't had any girls fight. Girls fights are more fun. They grab their hair and scream, but anyway, we haven't had a girls fight here since the 90s. I mean, that's really terrific. But anyway, if you fight with somebody, you and the other guy are out of the program and your group is banned from the webinars. So that should be enough incentive for you not to get, all testosterone full of yourself. Normally happens the graduation night. Because not everybody in this group loves one another, or at least they'll will be given reason to not love one another by the last night. This is one of the reasons we brought in the boxing. But the boxing has been pretty good to keep the fights amongst you kids. And they always happen, not always, but normally you're breaking $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 antiques, which you pay for. That's another reason not to fight inside, because you pay for whatever you break. So all of a sudden you've lived 35 years of your life, you never hit anybody. Never hit anybody. All of a sudden you decide to cold cock somebody with a fucking one of the planners or something like that and break $70,000 worth of antiques. What great decision-making process you have, All your life you sat there holding with one thumb up your ass and one hand on your little putts and let people piss all over you. And all of a sudden you get some balls the last night. And you break 70, 80,000 pounds worth of fucking antiques.
How many times that happened?
5 or 6. 5 or 6. 5 or 6. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Is he planning to do the 300 million? I think that was his target revenue. Is he planning to do
That's a low number. It's his number, but it's a low number. Because that's 10 times more than his 30 million number was when he got here. But I mean, 300 million is no magic number. I mean, it's no big fucking deal. I mean, it's just not.
That's not the number he wants for himself. That's the number he wants the company to be worth, did he say?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he wants. Now, did he say he wants to exit with 300 million or he wants the company to be 300 million?
Exit.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, well, the exit for him to have 300 million, that means the deal will probably be worth 500 or 600 million. Which is no big deal. It's like the example I gave you, $1.4 million. You looked at me like, well, fuck, he didn't know what $1 million. Well, you're not much better off now, and it's 50 years later. We used to put on this card after the second day, and we put what your goal was when you walked in here, before you signed. Oh, 8 million, you're $8 million. You're $3 million. You're $26 million. But it was too embarrassing. Just to prove how low your goals were. Why would you come here for an $8 million goal? You ought to kill yourself, metaphorically speaking. $8 million. Forget about it. 80 million bucks, forget about it. But we don't do that anymore because I'm a kinder, gentler. Now that I'm going to be Haley's Comet pretty soon. We're kinder, gentler. We don't embarrass you. We don't go out of the way to embarrass you now. You embarrass yourself enough by sticking your dick in your mouth. I don't even have to go out of my way now. We used to read back your homework. And I'd read a sentence and I'd say, who said this? Nobody raised their hand. I'd read it again. Nobody raised their hand. I read it a third time. Nobody raised their hand. Then I'd say, assuming you did it, I'd say, do you recognize it now? Is it better now? But we don't do that because we're kinder and gentler now. Like the big boys, I'm a wuss. I'm a pussy. I'm not hard enough on you. You won't think that once you leave here, but okay, what else? About yes, sir.
Great negotiation skills. He was able to negotiate the attorney to not charge him up front and then charge him for the next 10 deals, 10% for it.
No. But that's their standard deal. He didn't negotiate shit. The law firm liked him, liked the deal, liked the board, and so they offered it. Now, when you go into an accounting firm or a law firm, and the office, because nobody sees you in their own office now. Now they're in little boardrooms, you know. If the office you walk into is this big, I would get up and leave. But you need the practice. That means they think you and your deal are dog shit. If the room they brought you in is this big, and they got a buffet, food, booze across the back, they got 6, 7, 8 partners, the managing partner of the office, they say he's going to drop in to say hello, to introduce himself, your deal is fucking hot. It's fucking hot. If they have no partners, you should do it because you need the practice. But that means they don't think much of you. They're really dissing. Is that still a term they use, dissing? Disrespect, right? They're dissing you. They're pissing on you, really. Okay? And we'll talk about boardroom positioning and where to sit and what to do and all that stuff later in the week. But they're in a service business. And they're so fucking hungry. Nobody wants to miss the financial tsunami that's going on right now. Now, you didn't even know there was a financial tsunami. I look at you and I go, well, I know they know what tsunami means, Dan. I'm talking to myself. I guess they must not know there's a financial tsunami going on. That must be it. The waves are 900 feet high. And there you are on the beach with your old lady who looks like a tub of shit, and your little kids got a third eye in their fucking forehead, Daddy. And you're sitting there and the 900-foot wave is coming. Oh, honey, ain't it a nice day? What the fuck's wrong with you? And you can blame your parents. The best people are the people that don't know their parents. Adopted. But never hook up. Steve Jobs. My father never knew his father. His father died just before he was born. And he raised me the same way he was raised by the military. The military grew my dad up, 2 wars. So that's how he raised me. Yes, sir.
Do you ever advise to request that type of a push out of the deal of the service?
I don't understand.
In regards to the last example where the gentleman was able to get the first deal.
No, all the deals are.
If they don't offer it to you, do you?
Well, you ask it. It's in your templates. The standard model, and it's the private equity model, which Churchill said, is the first 3 deals are, and they normally cap it at 3 deals, 3 failures, and they'll roll it into, or 2 failures, and they'll roll it into the third deal, and if the third deal is unsuccessful, normally the firms will back away because they have a budget. Their business development budget is how much money can we spend on these guys, these entrepreneurs. We want their business, but how much pain are we willing to take? And it also depends on the risk profile of the firm. There's some banks in London right now that just took a several billion-dollar hit in healthcare. It's tough to get them to look at anything healthcare, even if it's a £1 million deal. Because now they've readjusted their risk-reward ratio, their portfolio. All the big firms have a budget for new business. And it's normally called business development or something else, something like that. And that's why when we're calling around, you say, are you in the lending mode? Now you'd think, well, fuck, all banks are in the lending mode. Well, that's not true. All banks are in the lending mode in some areas, but they're not necessarily healthcare, not necessarily this. So that's why I ask them. And when we go through the actual interviewing process, you'll better appreciate it. But again, it's all in the scripts. What else
He
about?
would also flip the questions on people to put himself in a position of, well, I'm not.
That's in the script. Yeah. You're interviewing them. And for the first time, you will see bankers sweat. You will see some bankers get up and leave the meeting. I mean, literally. We've had bankers cry. See, you've been in the doghouse of life so long, you don't know. You've been in the toilet of life so long, you don't have a fucking clue. And now you do. Now, you may decide not to use this shit when you leave here. But you can't ever say to yourself, you can lie and bullshit on Reddit, but you can't, you know that you now have the ability to be conduct the financial orchestra with all its tools for the first time in your miserable fucking lives. Whether you use it or not is a whole different story. Whether you use it or not. There's another question. Anything else about our Vietnamese gangbanger? Yes, sir.
Well, he said that, he came in with the expectation that, maybe Dan's going to help me grow my business and everything. And then once he learned about QLA, he's like, I just want to do QLA.
Yeah, well, because his thought process, not dissimilar to a couple of the people that I already talked about, thinking that you want to grow your business. Just turn the key. Turn the key and walk off. But do it professionally. Pay all your bills. Don't run like a thief in the night. Pay all your bills. Pay your people off, give them 3 months severance and do all this shit. Do it the right way. Don't do it the way that you've heard about. But most of you should just walk away. Turn the fucking key. You're wasting your fucking time. Or sell it to your employees if it's a real business. Yes, sir.
If we can, talking about the same point, if we can have somebody else run it, should we do that instead of just closing?
Well, there's the difference, but no, not having your wife, the fucking slag. No, not that fucking crack. No.
Somebody competent.
No. You sell it to them. They own it.
The employees, yes.
The person that you're going to turn the business over, run it, and your employees ostensibly are the most fit to run your business after you. In fact, most of the businesses that you sell to the employees outperform the best year you ever had the first year that they own it. To show you how fucking thick and stupid you are. Yeah.
If you sell to the employees, is that okay to keep the real estate holding?
No, well, those are all details. Doesn't make a shit. Make a shit. Doesn't matter. All that's bullshit. Those are details that you've consumed your life with that don't mean shit. How is keeping the real estate done so far for you? How's that program fucking worked out? Guys, and whoever said, that old adage, God only made so much real estate because it's going to go up in value. That's bullshit. I've seen property markets drop 40, 60%. I'm old enough to know. We're in the 11th year of a bull market. Mayfair real estate has gone down 5 quarters in a row. Manhattan real estate has gone down 6 quarters in a row. But nobody's writing about it. Why? 2 of the most expensive real estate places on the planet have gone down the last year in value. Looks like I'm talking to babies here. You don't even know that, do you? You're so fucking stupid. When they start publishing that, you know how when you flush the toilet, that last turd that's going, that's you. Where have you been? What are you doing? You're listening to podcasts on how to get a fucking 6-pack. God almighty. You realize if we had, like in NCI, they have the investigators are behind a window and they're watching you being interrogated. Those. If we had behind this mystical window that doesn't exist, real hitters, big fucking hitters, they would be laughing till they shit themselves. The questions you ask. And that's why you don't use your boards. Because you know that you don't know anything. And you do not believe, you will not want to believe, you can't believe that you don't have to know anything and become a billionaire. You don't believe that. Because if that were the case, why in the fuck are you where you are now? If you can have an ADI fucking Q, What reason, what excuse do you have for your lack of progress, we'll call it? We won't call it failures. Lack of progress. That's because I'm getting kinder and gentler. What excuse do you have? None. There's another question, another hand. You're scratching yourself, you're going to raise your hand. Just scratch yourself. Anything else? Yes, sir.
He actually has backup board members.
And most of the guys, that's the new, I won't say it's the new modern, it's not an addendum to the model, but because most of the kids have little or no leadership experience, they have little or no leadership skills in how to pick anybody. And when you hire these guys, it's just not their resume on LinkedIn. First of all, 50% of the resume is probably a lie. We haven't gotten to how you double check the resume. We're going to get into all that. But I mean, 50% of what people write about themselves are lies. Lies. Maybe a little white lie, but still lies. Still not the truth. Not the truth that your mommy and daddy taught you to do. Always tell the truth, Johnny. You little shit. Anything else about my Vietnamese gangbanger? Yes, sir.
He allowed the board to instruct him on how to run the business since he didn't know anything.
Well, he doesn't have a business yet. He's about doing a deal right now, though. And he should. And all of you should. That's what they're there for. That's what they're getting, free founders' equity. And you will not find anybody other than people that are practicing the QLA model that understand or know what free founders' equity is. You're giving them for free, for nothing. For some of your cultural backgrounds, this is the antithesis of how you were raised. You don't give anything away free. Free, no strings attached. And that's what sucks them into your Venus flytrap. Because they may have worked 50 years for IBM, but they don't get a platinum watch like this. They don't even get a Timex fucking watch anymore. Most of the retirement plans on the planet today are not worthless. Because, 20 grand or 40 grand a year is better than nothing. But not much better than nothing. I don't know any, people work 30 years at British Telecom and they get 35,000 pounds a year is insulting after 35 years. And do you realize that 98% of the money managed on the planet today, on all the funds and all over the world, are managed by people less than 35 years old? That's a scary motherfucker. 99% of them don't remember the crash of '87. When it comes tumbling down, and I'm not here beating my drum that it's going to come tumbling down, but when it does, and it will, bull markets don't last forever, all your little retirement plans are going to be wiped out. And when I tell you who's behind Bitcoin, not. You'll be getting your money out of it. Why do you think that I picked the top of the market in December of 2017 when Bitcoin was 19,600 and something change? How do you think I had an epiphany? Top of the market. Get out, but if you're not going to get out, sell half, keep half, is what I said to everybody. I had billionaires in Bitcoin that I trained. Not one single one listened to me. Now some of them got a few hundred million in Bitcoin from the 3.9 billion, the biggest one. I'd kill myself to think that I lost over 3 billion, even on paper, when somebody told you to do something else. Why do you think that I picked that? Why? What, did I wake up and with a slightly, and I pole vault out of bed every morning. I pole vault out of bed at 74. Do you think that my heart on wasn't quite enough for a pole vault? It's normally 3 pole vaults to my bathroom before I take a pee. I go, and I'm at the bathroom. Pole vaulting off my stiff dick. So how do you think I decided that?
You were informed, you were told, right?
You knew.
The hockey stick.
By your dream team or influential, whatever.
No. I did know.
The graph, the hockey stick. You see a hockey stick like that.
No, it had nothing to do with. I'm a hockey stick guy. I always, other than they used to call me pre-ejaculation Dan, not because I pulled before I ejaculated. I always left meat on the bone of every deal. But I know, and I know when it's going to peak again.
Well, who's behind it?
You'd be surprised. You wouldn't guess in 1,000 million years. Yeah.
Putin?
No, fuck Putin. Putin doesn't know shit. And you can quote me on that. But when you think, and how did I call the top of the oil market in August of 2014 when oil was $124 a barrel? How? And when we were talking about $200 oil, I said oil will be $40 a barrel before it's $200 a barrel. It went to $26 a barrel 9 months later. It's now currently 55, something like that. How? Why do sovereign funds ask me for advice? Because I'm a smart motherfucker. And there's no algorithm for 50 years of experience. And the AI guys tell me there will never be an algorithm for 50 years of experience. That's not how algorithms are built. Okay, anything else about my gangbanger? Shoot him up. He's Canadian. He's doing it in Canada. Yes, sir.
He got rid of all of his social media and stopped associating with
Yeah, you've heard that, but you're not going to... First report you send me, you're going to list how many minutes you were on social media. And if you have no social media, you can't be on you can't list it, can't you? Just put 0. But there will be very few zeros. And some of you will use it, my grandkids. Some of you will use the excuse, my children. Some of you, there was another hand. Yes, sir.
He has trouble getting scared.
Well, yeah, he's been almost dead before. It's tough. It's hard for me to get scared, too. Been run over by a buffalo, amongst other things. But he just, yeah, man.
Would you say there's a correlation between performance?
Is this another high rate kind of, you're going to have to break it down for the meatheads.
No, I'm saying, is there any relationship between people who perform very well within the program and cutting off social media and everything else?
Crap, yes. There's almost 100% correlation. Not quite 100, but almost 100. Meaning, you leave here, we've had kids leave here. In the last 90 days, I told him South Africa is in shambles. He's a white guy, a Polish guy. Move the plane, instead of going back to Warsaw, he went to Joburg, Johannesburg, and he's there. He built his dream team in 5 days, and I honestly thought I was going to be able to announce, you fucked me over, you little weenie. His first deal, but it's not done yet, so but if I was like all the other gurus, I'd lie and say, oh yeah, he's done the deal already in 3 weeks, but he hasn't. Didn't know anybody, cut everybody off from everything. Mother, father, brothers, sisters. Haitian. Our Haiti boy. You know, he's not popping up and volunteering who he is. I tell the Haitians, go to Haiti, never come back. I tell the Brazilians, go to Brazil, never come back. I tell Iranians, if you can speak Farsi, go to Iran and never come back. If you speak Spanish, but Trump's going to drop the hammer on Castro, I think, sooner or later. So I used to say, go to Cuba. These places are in fucking shambles. I used to say the same thing about Detroit. I used to say the same thing about Harlem. Go where the shambles, and you'll get rich. Anything else about my Vietnamese gangbanger?
He only met with bankers that could sign off.
Correct. Well, you're going to see that in the scripts. Okay, YouTube, go fuck yourself. I know you heard that I'm getting soft and easy, and I am. I'm getting soft and easy. The kinder, gentler Dan.